Welcome to sportsbookraeview.com. I'm Flash, and it's La Liga Week 11. Week 11, where has that time gone? Now we've had Champions League, Europa League this week, so some teams are going to be quite tired, but there's other teams that are showing unbelievable growing confidence, so we need to ride with them. I've got Martin and I've got Roman from La Liga Lowdown going to be going through all the games with us. There's some absolute crackers, but first of all, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we'll notify you, and if there's any sort of movement in the schedule, you will know, and you won't be sitting there waiting at the normal time. So please press the thumbs up and show an appreciation to both Martin and Roman. Also, if you press the link in the description, that'll take you over to the articles wrote by either Martin or Alex or Tan or Dave. Big week this week, gentlemen. I see some games where there's unbelievable value because the teams are showing unbelievable. I like unbelievable this week. Confidence, Roman. We're going to start. I'm not going to go to the game yet, but Valladolid winning in Granada, and Valladolid, who don't score goals, are now scoring goals and picking up points.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like Valladolid have finally found their form. We were talking about this before, that Valladolid were expected to do a bit more this season. They were supposed to take their project a step forward in this league season, and it seems like finally they're finding their form. They've got two very good results at the moment. They're playing good football. They're getting goals, which they really needed, and now they might be a different team. We have to see if they can keep going on in this level.
Yeah, I've actually bet them tonight. We're going to go through that game in a while. Plus 160. So I thought, oh my God, they're in great form, great confidence. I'm taking the 160 now. I've also done them in a little parlay with Liverpool in the Premier League. Martin, on the opposite side of the coin, Betis. They were an absolute disgrace the other day. I had a parlay going on, just both seemed to score. They went 1-0 down early, and they didn't track runners. They couldn't be bothered. They didn't get in the box. They got beat 4-0, and they made Athletic Club look like a Champions League side.
Yeah, very disappointing for Real Betis. He's never been the most defence-minded of coaches, has he, Pellegrini? He's going to be feeling a bit of pressure after that game. But I think, with the way he plays, you do those sort of results every now and again. His teams have always conceded goals, but hopefully they'll turn things around in the weeks ahead and pick up some emphatic victories, because I do think he's a good coach, and I do think he will do well for them. And perhaps they can bounce back against Eibar this weekend or on Monday.
Well, the big thing for me was I was going 10-star Nat, regardless of who they were playing. And then when I went through the fixtures and they're playing Eibar at home, I'm just going to have to sit and watch. But Betis are beyond the naughty step for me. I was even going to have a few quid on them to go down, because it's the players' attitudes. They're not tracking runners. They don't care. They're arguing. And for me, they're looking like a Schalke from the Bundesliga or a Werder Bremen from Bundesliga last year, where everyone says, oh, they're too good to go down. I think they've got real big problems there. They don't want to defend. They don't want to run. So if you don't want to run and work, then you're going to get beat. Leon says it's his first day here. Well, welcome, Leon. If you've got anything to say, just say it in the chat. You're our third guest. Got any tips, then throw them in there. But we will hopefully come up with some bankers now, Fab, before we go to the first game. Can you put up the last week's records, please? Okay, Martin, 0.62. We're really wiping our mouths here. La Liga Lowdown, that's obviously with Roman, Paco and Ewan collectively at -303. Good draw they came up with last week as well. Flash at -430. That can be wiped out in a second. But Parlay, sort yourself out, Parlay. We hit the post last week because we went with Granada, and yet all the way through the show, we weren't going with Granada. We was going to go with Sociedad. If we'd gone with Sociedad, then we would have been flying. Total 14.07. Don't worry about that. That will get amended this week. Let's start off with the first game. I'm going to come to you, Roman. And it's Valladolid at +150. I did get +160 because I'm a greedy man. Draw +225. And Levante at +210.
Yeah, it's a game where, as I said before, Valladolid are looking much better. They had two convincing wins in a row. And also they finally found a goal scorer, which is Marco de Sousa, who scored 2 goals in 2 games, because we know that Sergio Guardiola wasn't getting the goals. Their super signing this summer, which was Weissman, isn't scoring goals either. So this guy seems to have found to be the right player for Valladolid in attack. And in front, they have a Levante who have managed 4 1-1 draws. So Levante are struggling a lot to get to the 3 points. It's true that they're getting draws, but I'm not sure that's enough in this competition. And also, they're going to have a very important setback for this game, which is that Aitor Fernandez, their main goalkeeper, is injured. He's got a testicular concussion, peculiar injury to have, so he won't be available. and they're going to have to find another goalkeeper to play that game. Although it has to be said that Aitor Fernandez hasn't been as fantastic as he was last season, where he had an incredible year. As a matter of fact, he confirmed that Athletic Club Bilbao and that Arsenal were trying to get him for their team, but in the end it didn't happen. He decided he wanted to stay in Levante. And so Levante, as I said, don't look sharp at all. And I think Valladolid have the better chance of winning. Maybe a draw, no bet, could be an interesting option.
Yeah, no, very interesting option. I just got greedy and saw the 160 when I was advertising, plus 150, Martin. But the big thing is they're scoring goals. They're going forward against a Levante side who they seem so disjointed. Yes, they can score, but 1-1 nearly every single week. I think Valladolid only need to score 2. And the one thing we said about Valladolid, they don't score goals, but now they are.
Well, it's a good job that Valladolid have figured out how to score goals, because they haven't kept a clean sheet all season. And we're about 10 games in now, which is 10 games in, which is a pretty dismal record. For a team that generally were famed for keeping it tight, not conceding many goals, trying to grind out 1-1 draws and 1-0 victories, they've seemingly forgotten how to defend. But yeah, it's nice to see them playing a bit more ambitious, expansive football. I've enjoyed watching them a lot more in recent weeks, so well done to them. Levante can't keep a clean sheet either. They haven't kept a single clean sheet. Neither of these teams has kept a clean sheet all season. Maybe that's what's wrong with the goalkeeper. His manager kicked him in the nuts. Looking like we're going to have the backup today, so that makes me even more confident for my bet, which is both teams to score. Neither of them are great going forwards, and Levante often draw 1-1, but I can't see either of them keeping a clean sheet in this game if they haven't managed to do so all season. So there you go, both teams to score.
Okay, and Sanjay says Levante win. Sanjay, it's the first game. Stop that sort of behaviour. And you, Jack, I'd rather go with Levante than Valladolid. Stop it. Don't be trolling my selections. Elche is the next game, Martin, at plus 240. Draw plus 210. And Cadiz at plus 155. Who would have thought Cadiz, away from home, would be favourites by quite a long way?
Yeah, I can see why they are, because they did look a lot stronger than Elche last season. Of all the newly promoted teams, Cadiz were the ones that I liked the most due to their transfer business in the summer. It hasn't quite worked out for them in the last 2 matches, but I suppose you look at Atletico Madrid and Real Sociedad, you don't really expect to get much from them when you're a newly promoted side of their means. Elche have vastly exceeded expectations so far this season, which is great to see. But I would still feel that Cadiz could get something out of this game. I'm not going to play it, but if I was going to, I would look at Cadiz draw no bet.
I think the banker here is probably under 2.5 goals, because we know that Cadiz, and we like to stop records now, but this is what we've got to say, because Cadiz's DNA is tight at the back, frustrate, and when our chance comes, we hope to take it, Roman.
Absolutely. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think both teams are sort of like that, try to defend and look for those counterattacks. And as a matter of fact, Martin was talking about last season, both teams, they drew 0-0 in both games. So that comes to prove that usually there's not too many goals between both these sides. And as a matter of fact, this year they haven't proven to be a scoring team. So I think unders would be an interesting option here. And also, let's not forget that Cadiz do have Álvaro Negredo injured for this game, still unavailable. So that's a setback for Cadiz. But I still think Cadiz would be slightly the favourites if we had to pick one, because we know that their away form has been fantastic this season, except for that slip against Atletico Madrid away from home. All the other games have been quite positive for Cadiz, so we know that away they're a strong side.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many goals in this game. Draw half-time looks like an absolute banker, or under 0.5, maybe under 1.5. It was not going to get you rich. Next game, Martin, is I'm going to go to Roman. Valencia at plus 390, draw plus 275, and Atletico at minus 130. Atletico failed to score midweek. No Suarez, no Costa. Are we expecting either of them back this week?
No, as a matter of fact, they're both still going to be unavailable. Costa is so unlucky with injuries. He just keeps getting injured. Once he returns, injured again. So that's very unfortunate. And as you said, Luis Suarez also is still unavailable because he has COVID-19 and he hasn't recovered yet. So up front, they're going to depend on the youngster Joao Felix and on Angel Correa. So, of course, there's not going to be as much firepower out there, which is definitely not ideal. And as we know, Atletico de Madrid usually struggle a bit at Mestalla. But it's true that this time There are no fans, so maybe that could change. And we all know how Valencia is so unpredictable. They might have a disastrous game. They might have a great one. But I'm expecting more the latter, because I think after that Madrid win, they kind of blew it against Alaves. All that motivation kind of fled away, I guess, and they just managed to draw right at the end. And also they have Gaya, who is injured, a very important fullback for the team, and Cheryshev has COVID. So quite a few setbacks for Valencia. I think overall Atletico Madrid, they did break that really bad streak they had against Barcelona and La Liga, and I think they could do it again in terms of winning, at Mestalla, because they've lost the last three, or they haven't won in the last three, sorry. So this is a good opportunity for them to keep that going and to get a good result and fight for the title, because everyone's thinking that Atletico have a chance. These are the games they have to win if they want to win that title.
Yeah, Harry Dockett is saying both teams to score. No, the problem you've got with that is a dodgy penalty, VAR getting involved. We know that Valencia love penalties. And I worry about Correa and João Felix in this game, because they like to do their work outside the box. Now, that means you need runners from midfield that are going to get in the box and get ahead of them. I see no personnel for Atletico that do that, Martin.
Yeah, I had Atletico to beat Barcelona last weekend, even though they hadn't done it for a decade. And
well, you got lucky. What was Verstappen doing?
Delighted to see that one came in. I do think they're genuine title contenders.
Really?
Yeah, for me they are. Well, they're unbeaten, aren't they, since the whole season. They just beat Barcelona. You know, confidence has to be high, especially with Suarez and Costa to come back. If Real Madrid were more consistent, I would say they're the overwhelming favourites. I still think Real Madrid deserve to be the favourites to win the title, but I think if any team's going to run them close, it will be Atletico for me. So I would love to bet on them in this game, but last week I did say, never bet on a Valencia game anymore. Just draw a line through it as the first thing you do and focus on the other 9 games. And I have to stick to my guns on that and just say avoid.
Yeah, I'm like that. In Bundesliga with Hertha Berlin, I go with Hertha early on in the season. They showed nothing. In fact, they really angered me. So I just say, no, I don't care who you're playing. I'm not getting involved. And listen, you don't put any money down. You don't lose any money. I'm liking this game, though. Huesca at plus 320, Martin. Draw plus 230. And Sevilla at plus 100. I told everybody last week that Sevilla were going to score 4 or 5 very, very soon. And they came up trumps. And midweek, they were decent again, Martin.
Yeah, I've got Sevilla for plus 114. So there's some really good odds around on Sevilla, and I would have expected the odds to shorten on them this week, because you look at this game and you think Valencia can win, but it hasn't happened. A lot of bookmakers have had the odds drift out to become even more attractive on Sevilla. I guess it's because Huesca are the draw kings of La Liga. They've drawn like 7 games already in the early stages of the season. So they're a tough nut to crack. But Sevilla, I think they've got the tools to unlock this defence. They've got a lot of guile in midfield. Campos was playing quite deep role in their last game. But, when players like him and Jordan get on the ball, I think they should have enough quality. I always say they lack an out-and-out striker, but between Munir and De Jong and Nezeri, I think they've got enough firepower to get enough goals this season. Climbing up the table now, won 4 in a row in all competitions. I think they're really finding their feet after a bit of a sluggish start to the campaign. And I fancy the away side to win this one. Don't think they're going to blow Huesca away. I think it'll be a tough fought game, but I think they should scrape victory in this one. So away win for me.
Yeah, I can't go. Listen, everyone knows that I love Sevilla because of the way they play. But those of you that were disappointed, if you watched Sevilla in midweek in the Champions League away at Krasnodar, they were playing on a ploughed field. The ball was bobbly. They couldn't get it out their feet. And that was all because of Krasnodar trying to make sure that they stopped them. This side are so fluent, Roman.
Yeah, I subscribe Martin's words and yours. I mean, Sevilla, we all know that are a fantastic team. They proved it against Celta, despite the win came right at the end with those 2 late goals. They still dominated. They're a great side. They've got quality players. And we know that also Huesca isn't a great team in terms of scoring goals. They've only managed 8 goals in 10 games, which is pretty disappointing. They need much more, but I don't think they're going to find it against Sevilla, because Sevilla have a very strong line of 4. It's true that Acuña isn't available on that left side, but they have their main centre backs, Diego Carlos and Koundé. They're really good and really dominating in that position, and I don't think Huesca are going to get as many chances as they tend to get against other teams. And so it's true that Sevilla struggle a bit more away from home. That might be my only doubt. And that Huesca are so good at drawing, because they've already managed 7. And that's quite a lot so far this season. But I still think, as Martin said, that Sevilla will scrape a victory, whether it's 1-0, 2-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I think Sevilla and under 4.5, or Sevilla. The problem you have with Sevilla and over 1.5 is Sevilla are so disciplined. If they get 1-0 up, they will try and shut up shop, suck teams on. They could well go and get a second, but they don't mind a 1-0. They know how to keep the back door closed, as I say. Next game, try and find the value, please, Roman. It's Real Madrid at -300. Very impressed midweek. I liked it a lot. Draw +450 and Alaves at +850. They were fluent against Inter. They seemed to raise their game in the Champions League, especially when they were a massive +275, I think they were. I was on the right side of Real Madrid. I'm very happy to see the referee put Inter down to 10 men. But all said and done, they moved the ball really, really well.
Yeah, because Madrid, we all know, are still Madrid despite missing important players. But of course, when you don't have Benzema, who's your best striker, when you don't have Sergio Ramos, who's your best defender, you can always slip in a few games, although against Inter they proved that they're still a strong side. But also there's been another setback for Madrid, which is Carvajal. He's not going to be available, injured again for Real Madrid. So that's another guy in defense, which Zidane won't have for this game. And we saw them that in La Liga, they struggled against Villarreal. I think Villarreal had the chances actually to win the game. Although, of course, we can't really compare Villarreal and Alaves. They're sides which are completely different. But Alaves are in a decent role. They started off terribly. Now they've managed 4 games without a defeat, although only one has been a win. They almost snatched another win against Valencia the other day. So I think they could get a goal or something. Maybe both teams to score could be a possibility, although it looks like Madrid are the clear favourites in this one, despite everything.
Martin, Real Madrid can't afford to drop too many points with the likes of Sociedad, as you say, Atletico and Sevilla up there. And don't forget Barcelona as well.
No, I had Real Madrid draw double chance in midweek, even money, +100, which was just an amazing price. They're just vastly superior to Inter. Inter are so overrated for me. And even with key players missing, I always felt they could go there and at least get a draw. And lo and behold, they won it. Good, well played, Real Madrid. They do have a big enough squad to compete on all fronts. I think their confidence will be up now. They really struggled in the opening stages of the Champions League campaign, but back-to-back wins over Inter, they're right back in the mix. And now it's time for them to start hunting down some of these teams above them in La Liga and assert their dominance over the domestic competition. Sociedad and Villarreal playing one another, so they're going to make up ground on at least one of them if they win this game. And I fancy them to get the job done, even without the personnel that they have missing. I think they have a big enough squad. Even when the less heralded players come into the team, it's still a big opportunity for them to play for Real Madrid and force their way into Zinedine Zidane's reckoning. So I think we'll see a good performance for whoever comes into the team. And I'm going for Real Madrid to win. I think I went for Real Madrid and over one. No, I went for Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals because I don't think it's going to be a particularly high scoring game. I think Alaves will keep things pretty tight. Real Madrid will be a little bit fatigued from their midweek exertions. And I expect them to get a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, something like that.
I love the way that Madrid played two-touch the other night. It was Hazard, Odegaard, into Modric, down the side. They shifted the ball so well. Hazard looks like he's getting back to his best. Obviously, we don't want to say that too early because we don't want him to get injured. But Madrid are probably hoping that he is the player that they thought they were getting. Had the season off really last year, so he can be the difference. And remember, there's always the Arsenio, there's obviously Benzema. They've got a wealth and a depth about them. So for me, come on, Real Madrid. Remember, I've got you in that parlay for the whole season with Bayern Munich to win the Champions League and the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. So it's Real Madrid. Barcelona were impressive as well, by the way. They didn't have their stars, and all of a sudden, they looked fluent, Martin. Barcelona minus 400, draw plus 550, and Osasuna at plus 1100 could be plus 2000 for me.
Yeah, there's some glimmers of optimism coming out of Barcelona, like
green shoots
of optimism. Yeah, Pedri looks like a good player. Frankie de Jong's still young. You know, they've got the basis for a good midfield coming in, but still, for me, I can't be betting on them at minus 400, especially after they lost to Atletico Madrid last week. I just don't think they're going to have a great season, really. I think they do well to finish in the top three, given the players they lost in the summer, the lack of investment in the squad, a disaffected captain and star player in Lionel Messi. For me, an unproven coach in Ronald Koeman. I just don't see them getting close to challenging for the title this season. But they're still a big scalp. It's still a big game for Osasuna. They're still going to turn up and, give 110% effort and try their hardest to get a result in this game. We've seen a few dodgy results from Barcelona already this season, so I'd be a bit nervous about backing them at such short odds. You'd have to give them a pretty hefty handicap to bring it closer to even money, and I'm not prepared to do that.
Yeah, well, don't. Listen, there's lower hanging fruit than Barcelona, but it's always good to keep an eye on them and just see where they're at. Roman, do we expect Messi to be back?
Yeah, Messi should be playing this game after resting in the Champions League, a well-deserved rest, because I think he's been playing too many games lately, so that'll be good for him. And it's definitely what I see here. Well, the value I see here is maybe both teams to score, maybe. First of all, because we all know that Barcelona have been quite bad defensively the whole season. And if you add to that Piqué is going to be injured for 4 months, that Sergio Roberto is going to be injured for 2 months, that the other centre-back, Ronald Araujo, isn't available for this game. So he's going to have to play with Lenglet and either Frankie de Jong, again in that centre-back position, or Mingueza, the youngster who played quite well against Dynamo Kiev. I see Osasuna getting their chances, to be honest, because Barcelona aren't good defensively, it has to be said. And on the other hand, Osasuna are missing two of their most important centre-backs, which are Aridane and David Garcia. So there's something to look into. And overall, I do think Barcelona should win the game, but you never know, because Barcelona this season are very irregular also. They're playing really well one game, then the next game we're seeing a very poor performance. So they're definitely not title contenders at the moment, but they still should win this game. And also they've got Sergi Busquets back, which is always a good player to have just in case.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he could just slot into the middle of maybe a back three, push your fullbacks on. You're at home, you've got to go and force the game. I'm wondering about that, both teams to score, though. But listen, just leave it, move on.
Yeah, better.
This next game, Roman, you know that I like Getafe at home. They're at plus 180, draw plus 200, and Athletic Club at plus 200. Now, what I saw from Athletic Club last week, and everyone knows that I'm not a great fan, they got that early goal through the own goal against a dodgy Betis side. I thought to myself that they're great value, maybe draw no bet, but at plus 200, can I trust them to go to Getafe and win?
I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, it's true that they got a very good result and they're going to have a certain boost of confidence after that. That definitely helps. Yeah. But at the same time, as you said, Getafe are a good side at home usually. They're very strong defensively. So here I could see maybe an option of few goals, because I don't think we're going to see another 4-0 or we're going to see a 2-2, 3-3 or whatever. So I think that would be maybe the most interesting option, because we know that Getafe can't afford a defeat at home because they've had very bad results and they need points. And Athletic Club are also under pressure despite that win against Betis. So both teams won't want to concede, I think, and will be quite cautious in this game.
Okay, welcome to Rude Boy. Must have woke up a little bit late, Rude Boy, eh? Get out of bed, lazy man. Martin, Athletic Club, Getafe, under 2.5 goals. But the confidence that rolled through that Bilbao side last week was just scary, and obviously Betis gave them a helping hand.
It was a very good, very composed performance, but yeah, I do think they really profited from very sloppy defending from Betis. Don't think they'll have it quite so easy against Getafe. They're a better, sort of more well-drilled side.
Better attitude to the game would be a start, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I would like to go for Getafe in this one. Maybe Getafe draw, no bet. Not going to pull the trigger on it, but yeah, I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Athletic, very bad away record so far this season. Only scored 3 goals on their travels. Getafe like to keep things very tight at home. Very low-scoring games at their home stadium too. So, yeah, I'd be looking at maybe under 2.5 goals. Maybe you could go Getafe draw, double chance, under 3.5 as one sort of same game parlay if you wanted to go crazy. But for me, I think just best to move on and look for some more lower hanging fruit.
Yeah, I draw no bet with Bilbao. The way that I just saw them all just growing during the game, and they all wanted the ball, and they were all like, I mean, when they scored, the players were running. This is a great thing to look out for, by the way. When a team scores, the players run 85 yards to celebrate together. That gives you an inkling that all is well amongst that Bilbao side. And remember, they are a decent side once they get flowing. So I've just got to keep them on my right side. Next game is Celta plus 100, draw plus 245, and Granada at plus 280. Martin, Granada let us down last week against Valladolid. What is going on with them?
Yes, a lot of very inconsistent, aren't they? I mean, I think perhaps maybe our expectations were too high. I mean, they were newly promoted last season, so they have really, really excelled since coming up to the top flight. Made a blistering start to the new campaign. They're in Europe. Maybe the squad's perhaps not that big still, and maybe they're struggling under the sheer volume of games that they have to play and the weight of the expectation. I suppose you're going to get a few dodgy results here and there. I still do think they're a good team, but yeah, disappointed that I bet on them last weekend and they just didn't show up, sadly. Again, not keeping many clean sheets, are they? Granada, only 3 out of 9 so far. Celta Vigo have only kept 1 clean sheet in 10 games. We all know what Celta Vigo are about. They're terrible at the back. Got some very, very talented forwards that can sometimes get them out of jail. Results never seem to match up to the level of quality that they've got in their squad, and they always seem to be battling relegation despite looking pretty strong on paper. So I think this is a good opportunity for Granada to return to winning ways, but they do have a tendency to get caught out at the back, so could go either way, really. I'm not going to go for the outrights. I'm just going to go for both teams to score. Looks like this should be a good, open, entertaining game.
Yeah, both teams to score is probably the way to go. Maybe even the Alex Classic, which some of you are new to and don't understand the lingo. Alex Classic is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Roman, I expect this to be an entertaining game because both sides enter it thinking 3 points is up for grabs and we can take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the same as Martin. I think both teams to score is a very likely option here because it's both teams that, Granada defend better, I'd say, than Celta, but they both like to go forward quite a lot. Celta against Sevilla were about to snatch a point. They managed to put Sevilla under pressure with those 2 goals. So that's something I think they're going to keep on doing, especially with their new manager, Coudet, who I think is going to look for a more offensive approach and get their important players like Iago Aspas, Nolito, etc. to try and shine. And as a matter of fact, Coudet will finally be on the bench in this game because he wasn't in the previous one, because he needed an authorization, because he hasn't coached enough years a team to be able to be a European manager. An international manager needs to have coached at least 5 years in professional football, and it's not the case with Coudet, but they've given him a temporary authorization, so he will be there. So it's always better to have your coach right behind you. So that was an extra boost for Celta. But on the other hand, as you said, Granada had a very unexpected defeat against Valladolid. We all expected a lot more from them in that game, but I don't think we should bring our hopes down with Granada. I think they were actually arrested for that game because there was a national team games, and then also they had the previous game they already played with any players. So I don't think it's much of an excuse. I think it's just a slip in the way. If they're going to struggle, it'll be more ahead in time when they have feel the intensity of Europa League in its fullest. And so now I just think that Granada are slightly the favorite team, but both teams to score probably makes more sense in this game.
Yeah, they were definitely lethargic last week, and we do like Granada, so we don't really want to be just opposing them and leaving them out to dry. Next game is the game of the weekend, and who would have thought that maybe 10 weeks ago? So that would be Sociedad at plus 130, massive price. Draw plus 270, Villarreal plus 240. Roman, the home side have really impressed, and again, they have a togetherness, they have movement, and they score goals.
Yeah, and it's something I could also apply to Villarreal. I think that both teams are quite similar in that sense. They play very entertaining football. They like to go forward to get goals. They combine really well. I think it's two teams that should have a really entertaining game to watch. For me, it's definitely, as you said, the best game of this week. It's going to be interesting to see if David Silva is finally there because he's doubtful and he's been very important, especially in these last few weeks for Real Sociedad. Who got a draw in Europa League, and who important players like Porto and Oyarzabal, they played 80 plus minutes in that Europa League game. So I'm wondering whether they're going to rotate, whether they're going to be physically a bit more tired for this game. So I kind of see Villarreal getting a good result in this game. I mean, the previous last season, in the previous two games, they won. Villarreal won both games at Anoeta, and I kind of think they could get something out of here, especially after that good game against Madrid. And it's true that they don't have Paco Alcácer, who they're definitely missing, but Gerard Moreno's still there. He's a fantastic striker, and Baca as a reserve striker has been doing quite well. So I kind of see that Villarreal might get something out of this, but it's definitely going to be a very entertaining game to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that we should watch as well, just for future reference over the next couple of weeks. Now, Martin has been Sociedad's #1 fan this week, on and off that train. Listen, they've not let you down, even when they've been off. When you've been off that train, they've still gone and won.
Yeah, I tried. I was going to jump off the train one weekend, and then Ewan convinced me to jump back on, so I did, and they won, which was great. This is
that's like you're on the train and you get off, and Ewan shouts out, "It's not your stop, Marty. It's not your stop." Oh, okay, I'll get back on.
So I didn't bet on them midweek, fortunately, because I think AZ Alkmaar are a very good team, and they're really building up impressive momentum in Eredivisie. But yeah, back to domestic matters. I think this is obviously a huge game for them. Disappointing that David Silva might miss out. I know they played Januzaj, didn't they, in that sort of number 10 role in midweek. Interesting to see if he carries on there and Porto plays on the right, or if Silva can come into that role and Januzaj can move out onto the flank. Either way, I think they'll create chances, and there seems to be pretty healthy competition for a starting berth between Willian Jose and Isaac up front. So yeah, I think they'll get on the score sheet. Villarreal aren't great at the back, but like Roman said, Gerard Moreno is a quality player, and Villarreal just do have a lot of firepower, a lot of creativity. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see this game. I'm hoping it's going to be an open and entertaining one. I'm going for both teams to score. Hope it comes off.
There seems to be a lot of that, both teams to score. I'm thinking to myself that I think there might be a few clean sheets this week that might just upset us. But Sociedad's back line, I think that they make sure they don't get beat. Yeah, I like Sociedad, to be honest. Next game is, and you have to excuse this, it's Betis. -130, draw +275, and Eibar at +350. Martin, if Betis were playing anybody else, it's a 10-star nap. I don't care, even if it was an under 15 side.
Yeah, it is strange to see a team priced at -130 after they've just lost 4-0, isn't it? It's not. It's a bit of a damning indictment of Eibar and the season they've had so far. But yeah, it should be two teams that are low on confidence. Yeah, I can't imagine Betis making the strongest start in this game, but overall, they do look a better team. You know, they should have enough quality to win it. Whether they'll actually turn up and put in the requisite level of ambition and effort and energy, that remains to be seen. For that reason, I'm not going to bet on it. But yeah, you can't bet on it. Yeah, pass.
Exactly. Even Rix is saying Betis and Eibar, I'll leave. Yeah, mate, just leave it. It's one of those. Roman, I would have you sectioned and put in a straitjacket if you go near any of these two sides.
Bueno, I can understand why you guys are saying that, to be honest, because of course Betis was just absolutely terrible. And Eibar, on the other hand, are a team that are just struggling. Somehow they're not in the bottom three positions. They're a bit slightly above, holding on there as they can. But as we know, they're the team, the lowest scoring team of the competition. So Eibar has struggled a lot to find goals, especially away from home. And also they're not going to have Quique Garcia, who's been their best striker so far this season, because he was sent off last game. So he's suspended. So that's another important setback for Eibar in terms of trying to score a goal. And I just think that Betis have to bounce back in this game. I think if it's not now, when is it going to be, And Fekir, their best player possibly, is going to return for this game, so he's an important player to have there, despite Claudio Bravo, who will be unavailable. But still, I just have a feeling that Betis will get something, despite being the team that have conceded more goals this season. So it's the team that's conceded more against the team that scored less. I think it's kind of going to cancel each other out in this sense. But I do slightly believe that Betis have the better chance in this game, despite that terrible performance against Athletic Club de Bilbao.
21 goals they've let in. 21, and their body language is the biggest thing for me, not the way they play, it's their body language. And it looks like, listen, I'm definitely going to be having a look over the weekend, and maybe I'm going to have a little look at them to get relegated just because of the value, but I'm not going to do it until after the weekend, because if they get 3 points or they get a point this weekend, then obviously I'm going to get a bigger price come Monday morning. But I'm definitely trolling Betis for the rest of the season regardless. Let's have a little look, please, Fab, at our selections this week. Here we go, Martin's picks. Valladolid, both teams to score at -105. Sevilla at +114. What a massive price that is. Real Madrid to win an under 4.5 at -140. Celta Vigo, both teams to score +112. Good price that. Real Sociedad, both teams to score at -150. Roman's picks. Villarreal, draw no bet, +150. Sevilla, +105. So there's a big difference there, +105 and +114. And Atletico at -130. Now, I've gone with Valladolid at +150 earlier on the week. I had them again this morning at +160. Huesca and Sevilla, both teams to score no at -125. Valencia and Atletico, both teams to score no at -125. And I've gone with Atletico Bilbao, draw no bet, at +110, and that's my banker, and that's all on the opposite to Betis. That's all on body language and confidence. Now we need to find a 2-team parlay. Last week we talked ourselves off of a winning 2-team parlay. Martin, give me your 2 teams, or give me 1 team, and I'll throw the other one at Roman.
Okay, well, I'll go for Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals for my selection, please, Flash.
Okay, so we got Madrid and under 4.5.
I think I'd go for Sevilla, because I think they're going to keep on with a good form, and they should get a win in this game against Huesca, who are struggling to score goals.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't agree more. So we're going to go with Sevilla, and it's plus. I'm going to put +110 because that's in between what Martin got a +114 and the +105 that Roman got. Now, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, and ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we notify you. And if you are new, then you need to subscribe, because we're getting closer and closer to 75,000, and it's all down to you, your loyalty, your contribution, and the way that you spread the word. And if you press the link in the description, that'll take you over to the articles that are wrote by Martin, by Dave, by Tan, and by Alex. And they love a parlay over there. But it's not just soccer or football from wherever you are in the world. Every sport that's covered here on SBR, there are articles over there. Have a great weekend to everyone in the chat. We'll be back Monday morning with Champions League and Europa League. It's another busy week next week. And don't forget, the college boys are doing great things. NFL all over the weekend. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. And join us again on Monday evening when we go for Monday Night Football. One person on the Monday Night Football this week went 8-0 with his props. 8-0. Let's hope he can do it again. Thanks, Roman. Have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Martin,
guys.
See you again soon. Have a great weekend in the Premier League, La Liga, and I'll see you on Monday for Europa League. Everyone else, you take care.